So Christmas to me feels like it's over, and for all intents and purposes, it is. The presents have all been unwrapped, cooed over. The turkey has been stripped and made into sandwiches. My project this afternoon will be to take down the Christmas tree and the ornaments and put up the manger scene, pack it away. For those who might be interested, the angel I mentioned in the sermon a number of weeks ago is missing in action. We think the dog's got it, so we're not sure if we're going to find it or not. But Christmas, it was a meaningful Christmas for me. One, my daughter got engaged, and it was a beautiful Christmas. I always love the communion service, the candlelight service, and it evokes such strong, feelings of being with family and friends and connected, and the image standing as we stand here holding the candles in the darkness. It's just something that's incredibly meaningful. And though it's only a few days after Christmas, it does feel like Christmas is over. I can carry those memories with me. They're a part of me now. And I can, starting tomorrow, get back to work, right? I'll get back to work. Now, officially, you may not be aware of this, but there are actually 12 days of Christmas. And actually, the Christmas season, Christmas does not end until January 5th. Does anybody keep their decorations up till January 5th? Boy, y'all would make me feel guilty. So a number of faithful people keep the decorations up till the 5th. But I finally come to this story that we read this morning, and it feels so out of place. I don't know about y'all, but hearing this story of Herod, killing of the innocents, it's a rather startling story. It feels like Christmas is over. It's ended, and because they're trying to kill the baby Jesus. And I find that story rather unsettling. I want to carry forward the good feelings of Christmas. I want to feel good at least longer than 3 or 4 days, right? And now all of a sudden I'm confronted by this horrific genocide of children. And Christmas disappears like that. And I'm not sure what to do with that. It is a deeply disturbing and sad story. Now, many scholars believe or argue that really they're not sure about the historicity of it, rather because there was no particular record at the time of Herod ordering this event. And so scholars argue that maybe this didn't particularly happen. Maybe what the Gospel of Matthew was trying to do, the writer of the Gospel of Matthew was trying to do, was connect to the story of Moses and what happened to him as a child, because Matthew is the gospel that's the most Jewish gospel, and it's a very important connection for Matthew to connect Jesus as the new Moses. So a number of scholars see the story as kind of trying to connect what happened to Moses as a child, if you remember when the Pharaoh did a genocide of the children there. But whether one believes this is history or not, the truth is we know in the history of this world that there have been many, many Herods, right? There have been many tyrants so fearful of losing power, so fearful of anything that would challenge their rule, that they would slaughter innocents. That's true, whether this particular story is not. And what Matthew does is remind us, as much as we want to hold on the good feeling of Christmas, this reality of Herods in the world, right? And of the slaughter of innocents. It is so profoundly full of grief, this story. So this reference, these mothers who are so filled with grief, and they can't even weep. This incredible, powerful story of a tyrant destroying innocence. And I don't know about you, but I kind of don't want to go there yet. I need some more feel good, right? Especially these days. I want to feel good and not be confronted by this reality. There's this picture, a painting. It was made in 1824. Let me see if I can remember the name of the guy who did it. Leon Cornier, 1824. It's a painting and it's titled The Massacre of the Innocents. And I don't know if you can see this, but in the background, as she's hiding right there, in the background you see people running and fleeing. It's a really challenging painting to look at. You see a mother holding two children as she flees. You see people running all in the background, and then you see her. She kind of comes to the fore, and you see her, and you see how her hand is covering the baby's mouth, as if to make sure the baby doesn't cry out for fear of being discovered. I don't know about you, but that's a hard image. Especially so close to Christmas. And Herod is not one of those, likable bad guys. He's not Darth Vader that he's going to get a redemption arc. In fact, Herod he doesn't see the joy of Christmas and like Grinch and feel good and spread the joy. Herod's not the kind of person, the tyrant who gets visited by ghosts of past, present, and future, and then offers care for the poor and generosity. He's not Scrooge. Herod is so many tyrants in the history of our world who slaughtered the innocents. And I'm not sure what to do with that this Christmas season. Now, one thing about this picture that strikes me, this painting, is that she's looking at us, isn't she? If you look at it, it's like she's looking at us, wondering, what are you going to do about this? Who is weeping for the children? Who is grieving for the children? I just briefly Googled and went on the internet and discovered these facts. In this country, one of the richest countries in the world, children remain the poorest age group of any age group in our country. About 1 in 6 children, 11.9 million children, live below the poverty line. Almost 12 million innocents live below the poverty line. And of that, more than 5 million of those children, these are our government statistics, live in extreme poverty, less than half the poverty level. 2.5 million children in our country are homeless. Nearly 3 in 4 of those children, of those living in poverty, are children of color. Who weeps and grieves for those children? 2009, there was a study by the Department of Justice that showed that more than 60% of the children surveyed were exposed to violence, crime, or abuse. 60%. Almost 40% of the children in our country were direct victims of 2 or more violent acts. And our children experience active shooter drills every semester. And the question our story asks is, who grieves and weeps for the children? And in many ways, that's the question I see in her eyes. It's a question, what are you going to do? There's a great poem by Anne Weems, a poet, a Christian poet, that says, "The night is still dark, and a procession of Herods still terrorize the earth, killing the children to stay in power. The world still knows its Herods, but it also still knows men and women who pack their dreams safely in their hearts and set off toward Bethlehem, faithful against all odds, undeterred by fatigue or rejection, all to kneel to a child." We're on the other side of Christmas. Christmas is over, and we have a lot of work to do. To God be the glory this day and forevermore. Amen.